Welcome to the inaugural NBA North Uncut podcast. Today we'll be discussing the everything Raptors, including the playoff performance, their seasonal performance, as well as the contract situations going forward into next season. So let's get started. My name is Zubin, and that's
Sunny.
and obviously we're Raptor fans, and let's just jump right into it. We'll start with the regular season breakdown, player by player. Let's start with Kyle Lowry. So what do you think?
What do I think about Kyle Lowry? This season, I mean, I'm not sure. Over the last couple of seasons, I feel like Kyle Lowry's played the best he's ever played before. I mean, he kind of reached a plateau under Dwayne Casey, and with Nick Nurse, he's sort of been freed, and he plays a bit of two guard and then runs the offense sometimes. And I think he's been the best player on the team, even at his age. I mean, I'm not sure if you agree with that, but that's what I think. I think Lowry is basically the backbone and the heart of the team. He's the captain, and he's led from the front through and through. Even though he's had injuries through the season, I think. Are we talking about his season, or are we talking about the playoffs right now?
We're just going through seasonal evaluation.
Yeah, so the season, yeah. So yeah, Larry's been amazing, especially with the bench. The game against Dallas when we came back from 30 points. It was basically Lowry and the bench, and yeah, he's the heart of the team, and I think he's been our best player for the season.
Well, for me, I've had a kind of a love-hate thing with Lowry ever since he's been a Raptor, and I think he's like, this is probably one of his best seasons. Maybe not statistically wise. He's had better seasons statistically as far as points and assists. And field goal percentage was not so great this season either. He's had better seasons as far as efficiency.
Yeah.
But this year, he just kind of carried the load. Like, I know Pascal outscored him and had, also his best season. But Kyle Lowry's like the heart and soul of the team.
Yeah.
And like you said, like in the Casey era, he was just held back. Like, he wasn't used in the most efficient manner. They would run like the offense through DeMar rather than Kyle, who in my opinion is one of the best point guards in the league as far as pure point guards. A facilitator, a shooter. He plays defense. Like, what else can you ask for from a player? And he's 30. I think he's 34, and this is his 35th year. And he's playing like he's in his prime, when most players would actually be dropping off, a la Marcus Gasol.
And that's the thing. That's the thing with Larry, because Larry does a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. He's diving on the floor. He's taking charges and stuff. And even though he may not score 30 points, I mean, if you get 3 charges a game, that's like 6 points taken away from the opponent. So I think Larry's been our best player and leader on the team. There's no question in my mind.
My nickname.
I also think he's been, in my opinion, based on the fact that he's been there so long, based on the fact that he won a championship, based on everything, he, in my opinion, is the greatest Raptor ever. Yeah, Kawhi, for example, I mean, he came in, he did win the championship with us. He brought it but he left, And there's something, when I'm going to be calling someone the greatest Raptor ever, it has to be someone who was proud to be a Raptor and wanted to stay a Raptor. And Larry's always been here, and I mean, he's come here and he's changed the franchise. So yeah, for me, he's the greatest Raptor ever, and this is one of his best seasons.
Well, yeah, in the Dwayne Casey era, I used to call him Kyle Lousy instead of Kyle. And to be honest, like, it was just a frustration thing where Dwayne would just he would try to play hero ball with DeMar and Kyle. And the rest of the players would not be.
Yeah, it was ISO ball. It was ISO ball.
It was ISO ball,
and
that's not Lowry's strength.
Undersized, and so it doesn't work. In today's NBA, it just doesn't work.
He's a 6 foot. He's not Iverson.
And the offense, you need to have the ball moving around, and that's where Lowry, has space to drive. I think, yeah, there's no question about Lowry. Lowry is the best Raptor ever for me, and this is one of his best years. So.
Yeah. So if you just stop cutting me off, like. um, yeah, so I used to call him lousy, and Demar was the chokin, but um, it was mostly I would lay that at the feet of Dwayne Casey, where he was trying to make Lowry into like an Iverson type of player, and he was that's not his strength. Like he's more of a facilitator, and he's more of a flow player. He's not a person that is gonna just back you down and run the clock out, and he does that nowadays. But back then he was younger, he needed more experience, and they were just asking too much from him. And most of the runs that he had where he faltered were he was actually injured, so he wasn't at full strength. But he never made any excuses. He always fought through. So he's just a warrior. Like now, his name is King Kyle for me, a legend Lowry, whatever you want to call him. Like the guy deserves a statue before he retires. Like this is Mr. Raptor. Um, who cares about Vince Carter or Chris Bosh or even Kawhi? Kawhi, he did a cameo with the Raptors. And as far as even last season, if it wasn't for Kyle Lowry, I don't think they would beat the Warriors. Like Game 6, he
Yeah,
was the hero.
yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't Kawhi. You could have easily given Lowry the Finals MVP, and nobody would argue with that. Uh, so
yeah. Agreed.
there's no
There's no rebuttal on this one.
there's no disagreement on that. And
Yeah,
I don't think any person that watches the Raptors would have
yeah. Will I
any
ever
any
say?
bone to pick with that
Yeah, yeah,
whatsoever.
yeah.
So moving on, we'll move on to and remember we're talking about regular season, so we'll move on to Fred, the starting shooting guard for the Raptors. So what's your
Well, I
take on him?
mean, that's debatable because I think a lot of times the ball was in his hand and Lowry was the shooting guard, right?
It was kind of like they were both combo guards. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, and that was the beauty of it. Like they weren't like
Fred
one
is
and
a
two.
tough one for me. I mean,
We're talking season, eh? We're talking
yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah. But there are times where like Fred has good games. Season wise, he's generally decent because in the season you're playing team after team and they're not generally scouting for you for 7 games where there's one person on you and you're just going from going through the motions between one player, one team to the next team to the next team. And in that situation, Fred's really good.
Yeah.
Um, that being said, he has improved. His driving has improved over the year. And he does have that in him to hit the shot, regardless if he's missed 10. My only problem with him is when he misses 10, he needs to stop taking so many shots. In basketball, they feed the hot hand. The problem is if that hand is Fred's and he's not hot, he's not feeding it. He's just taking shots. So uh, his defense has been okay. I mean, in the regular season, it's very hard to complain because we're a good regular season team, and Fred did a decent job. In he, I think if he didn't get injured, he got injured earlier in the season, and I think if he didn't get injured, he would
How,
have.
how how long was that? How long was that for? What was
They
the
were
injury?
breaks. They were like whatever, maybe a week or 10 days, things like that,
Okay.
and it happened a couple of times.
Okay.
And I think if that didn't happen, he had a chance to push for an All-Star berth, like he was borderline at that point. Siakam got it because Siakam is just different compared to everyone else. But I think he had a chance to push for it, but then he got injured at the wrong times, and every time he came back, then he struggled a bit because it was the injury was bothering him and stuff like that. But if he wasn't injured, he could have maybe next year if he's with us, hopefully.
Yeah. So as far as Fred is concerned, I mean, I've never been a big fan of his. He is a good player. Don't get me wrong. I felt like this was before he blew up, when they had to make a decision between DeLon Wright and Fred as far as keeping one of them. At that particular point, I thought they were making a big mistake. DeLon was a bigger guard. I know he's not as good as a shooter, but he's a better like he's just a bigger guard. He had more upside coming into the league. Obviously, Fred was never even drafted, so I felt like they made a mistake on that. Maybe I'm wrong, but um, as far as this season is concerned,
You feel
obviously,
like you felt like Dylan Wright had more of an upside compared to
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. DeLon Wright was I don't think DeLon Wright got enough time with the Raptors to actually mature his game.
true,
Um, and
true.
and I think that's why the Dallas Mavericks actually paid him money. They paid him about, I think he's getting more money than Fred as far as contracts for the last 2 years.
I think he's a better defensive player because he's taller.
He's
He can,
bigger.
he
He's
can block
you can
shots and stuff.
Dude, they used to play him at the three. They would go with
Yeah,
small lineups and play him at the three or even the four. He's 6'5". He's a long,
yeah,
he's very
yeah,
wiry, strong, and
yeah,
very shifty player. So he had that kind of Fred game as well.
yeah.
He wasn't as good of a shooter, but that's something he could have developed. Like it wasn't.
But the only reason why they kept Fred Van Vliet is because over Delon is because they thought Fred was more of a leader and he has that thing to take the clutch shot. My issue with that is Delon Wright at the end of the day.
You never gave him the shot.
Yeah, no, but he did hit a few clutch shots against
Yeah,
Washington. He did.
yeah.
So
I remember that time when they were wearing the Huskies jerseys.
yeah, yeah,
And they went with that small lineup, and they made that massive comeback. And Delon was a huge part of that. So
yeah, yeah,
even Dwayne Casey
yeah,
was giving him an opportunity, and I think they just I don't know. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I would have loved to have kept them both, but
yeah.
at
But I
that
guess we
particular
had to do it to bring Kawhi and
yeah,
everyone here.
yeah.
We had to make those changes.
So getting back to Fred, obviously he's had his best season up to date.
Yeah,
17 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, 3 rebound, almost 4 rebounds. But of course, the field goal percentage is putrid. 413 from the field. 3 point percentage is 39%, which is not bad, which is actually pretty good. And he took a lot of shots, and he made a lot of threes. So his regular season was elite, not all-star level, but almost there. Um, and I just don't like my another thing with Fred is that, and this is not his fault. It's Nurse starting him. I don't believe
yeah, that's a
I
big
don't believe in him starting it. I said this before the season started. Norm should be starting. It should be Kyle, Norm at the one and the two. Fred coming off the bench is more of a punch.
yeah,
Fred doesn't need confidence. He gets confidence from everybody in the league. I feel like
yeah,
he's overrated. They give him more props than he deserves. Um, and Norm is the type of player that should have started. So in that scenario, and the being undersized and starting at the two with that short backcourt, it doesn't hurt you in the regular season as much, but as you can see, in the playoffs, it was a big problem. So yeah, I'm okay with Fred. His season was obviously good,
mm.
and yeah, I'm kind of tepid on Fred. So
We should rate them. So if you had to rate Kyle Lowry's
oh yeah, we're rating regular season. Okay, so like
so
a
Kyle
grade.
Lowry out of 10 for the season.
Let's do A to F, A plus, B plus, C, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, okay,
So Kyle Lowry, I'm going with for regular season,
yeah,
definitely. I mean, I'll give him an A minus.
A minus. Yeah, for
A minus.
me, I'd give Kyle. Yeah, I mean it's between a B plus to an A minus
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me. I don't know if that's harsh. I think he's the best player on the thing, but yeah, I think we're a bunch of B plus type of players. The whole team is full of that.
yeah.
I think
It's a Miami type of player team.
yeah, so I think Kyle Lowry is
A minus,
yeah B plus.
B plus, and then what about Fred regular season?
Fred regular season would be for me uh, B.
Yeah, I'll give Fred for regular season. I'll give him a B plus.
Yeah.
And now we'll move on to the third starter. My favorite Raptor, OG Anunoby. What are your thoughts on OG?
Agugua.
Pardon?
Agugua.
Agugua is his real name. I don't know if anybody knows that, but but yeah, that's his real name. That's his Nigerian name. My man with the shortest interviews ever. Like ever. Like his interviews are shorter than Kawhi's. Like he's a man of almost
It's
no
one word.
words. Like
Yeah.
so yeah. What's your take on OG's season output?
Well, it's a tough one because OG had a bit of a difficult season last season, and this season he made strides. One thing I've noticed about this Raptor team is they keep making progress, which is good. With OG, he started off hitting his shots, and it was almost at like 50% in the beginning half of the season, and then he fell off the cliff. Now I don't know if that's mostly based on OG or if that's based on Nick Nurse giving him fewer minutes. Obviously, he's our defensive stopper, which makes him vital to the team. And
100%. I believe it's Nurse. Like he just doesn't display enough. He didn't display enough confidence in OG in the regular season. 100%.
yeah, so I feel like over time, like this season he needs to, when in the off season he needs to work on his drives. I think his driving and dribbling, if he adds that to his game, then he becomes close to unstoppable because he's a huge guy for his height. He's big. He's like a tank.
He's bigger than Kawhi.
Yeah. So with driving and adding driving to his game along with the shooting, then I think it makes a big difference going into next season. But yeah, he's coming along. He's coming along. I feel like he'll be, if he has to make a push to be an all star, it'll take a couple of years time. In 2 years.
Okay, so
And
for
I
me,
think for him for the season
yeah.
would be B.
Oh, he's grade
Yeah, B.
B. Okay, so OG for me, as far as he's
Actually,
concerned, like,
B minus. B minus.
B minus. So OG for me, like you said, the second year of his career was laden with injuries, and his father died, and he was just it was just it was basically this year that passed was his sophomore season, um, and uh, f- and the Nick Nurse gave him about 30 minutes per night. His stats were 10 points per game, 11 points per game almost, with 1.5 assists, with 1.4 steals and 0.7 blocks.
Yeah.
Um, and his rebounding got better as the season progressed, where
Yeah.
they actually needed him to rebound.
Mm.
So he had about 5.3 rebounds, and his field goal percentage was amazing. It was above 500%, and 3-point percentage was 39%. And he actually made three threes. I didn't even know that. That's insane.
Yeah.
So he averaged three threes per game. His defense is elite. As far as replacing Kawhi, I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's either as good as Kawhi or better. And
You feel
he's
OG is as good as Kawhi right now?
defensively. Yeah, hell yeah. I think he's better than Kawhi because Kawhi is asked. I was at least when he was in Toronto, he was asked to do so much on offense that he couldn't exert energy on defense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Uh,
I'm talking as a player overall.
no. I'm talking about strictly defense. Like OG has the potential to be all team first defense, like at his
Yeah,
position.
I agree with that.
Um, so yeah, he had an amazing season for a sophomore. Like he had an amazing season. He was drafted like in the mid-20s.
Mm.
He had those Achilles injuries coming out of college, so we just got lucky as far as drafting him. So,
Yeah.
um, I mean, what else can you ask for from a sophomore and a guy who had to fill the shoes of Kawhi as far as that position coming into the
In
starting
terms
lineup?
of defensively, yeah.
It's a lot of pressure, and I felt like he met it or surpassed it. So, in that sense, I would give OG a B plus as far as the regular season.
Okay. It's
Uh,
not that it's a little biased because he's your favorite player.
well, you gave him a B, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
But I gave,
bias?
I gave him a generous,
I might be a little bit biased, but I
I
mean,
gave him
like,
a generous
pardon?
B.
A what? A what?
A generous B.
A generous B? Yeah, I give him a B or a B plus because, like I said, like he basically didn't play for a full season.
And this
So
has nothing to do with you picking him on your fantasy team.
that's more. It has more to do that has more to do with my hatred for Pascal. But we'll talk about that soon because Pascal's next. So,
Okay.
yeah. Any other thoughts on OG? I mean,
OG, no, I mean, he has to improve. I mean, I hope this is not because OG is, again, he has athleticism, but it's mostly, straight up athleticism. It's
yeah,
not, yeah. So he has to improve on driving the ball and using his
yeah,
strength to get to position. So if he does that next season, then that's great.
and
It's
and that and that's the thing. Like, so his handles, he can work on them, but he has flashes like where
yeah,
he will go up the court. So I think it's more about opportunity,
yeah.
and Nurse trusting him more to do that. He definitely has upside to do it. He's freaking 23 years old. He's a baby.
And I honestly, he doesn't need to be great at handles. He just needs to know how to get to his spots on
Yeah,
the thing, just
yeah.
like wide, and he'll become a great player.
It's more of a basketball IQ thing, and it's
Yeah,
more about positioning and getting
yeah,
him the ball in the right spots,
yeah,
making him more than just a 3-point corner shooter. You know what I mean? Like he's more than that. Like he's
yeah,
big. He's bigger than Kawhi. He can develop. Like remember Kawhi when he came into the league, he didn't have any of these things. He developed this shit. Like
yeah, yeah,
he wasn't a good ball handler. He was just a
yeah,
defensive stopper.
yeah,
So OG has that upside. Sky's the limit for this guy. Like
yeah.
so moving on. Uh, No, remember we're talking about Pascal at the regular season. We're not talking about playoffs. So yeah, go for it.
I mean, what can you say? I mean, see, at the end of the day, Pascal was not ready to be the number one person, but he had to be the number one person because Kawhi left, and we needed someone to shoulder that scoring load and take the whole thing. For him being his first year and having defenses completely geared towards him, I think he did. I think he did well. I love his defense. I think his defense is amazing. I love the way he moves his feet. I like the way he shuts down quite a few people, and it's great with him and OG. They keep switching,
Oh
and
man, it's an elite
yeah,
pairing.
elite front court defense.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good. Offensively, he really needs to improve his shooting. His 3 point shooting. It's too streaky. It's too streaky, and
Well, believe it or not, he shot 36% in
I know he did, but
the
I
regular season
watched it because
from
his
three.
36% would be where the one game he'd go 6 for 7.
Oh yeah, oh
The
yeah, yeah. Super streaky.
1 for 5. He's very streaky. And
Yeah, yeah.
overall, if you look at it, you're like, oh, 36%, great shooter. But where was his shot in the playoffs?
Oh,
Like,
we're not talking about playoffs
I understand that.
then.
As streaky, like if he was streaky enough and his streak was going for him, he would have had a great playoffs. So it's too streaky. I didn't personally think he was All-Star level when he made the All-Star, but the East didn't have anyone, and that's why he became an All-Star at the end of the day.
Okay,
I
so you don't think that these are 23 points, eight, almost sorry, 7.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, one steal, almost one block, 0.9. How many threes per game? 2.2 threes per game.
Yeah,
That's pretty damn good, man. That's all
yeah,
star.
that is very good. But
Those are all star stats.
I think of an all-star for me, when I think of an all-star, it's someone that you just give the ball and things can happen. He was never that guy. He's always in the flow of the offense. When I looked at the team, I never thought he was a star and everyone else was around him. I thought Lowry was a star. So in
Uh,
Raptor fan, when I look at Siakam, that's why when it came to the playoffs and everyone was disappointed, I was thinking to myself, well, yeah, that's what it was. He was never actually. When you look at the West, I mean, the East, there isn't a player like him. So his numbers are great. So he's an all star.
well, he's basically like a Draymond Green, but he's basically a Draymond Green. Like that's what he is. Like
No, Draymond Green's completely different type of players.
no, in the sense that they're not skilled players. They're not
No, I
skilled
think no,
players.
no,
They're
I
not
think
talented players. Like it's just
no, no, no.
effort.
See, even that I disagree with that because I think Pascal has the talent and it's just that he's been doing. Remember when he first came, like you're thinking about think of Pascal 3 years ago. Who was he?
Oh, he was
He was,
trash.
he was nothing.
She was
Yeah,
trash. Yeah, Casey used to start him, and I was just like, who the fuck is this guy? Like,
yeah. So when you 3 years ago to now, he's supposed to lead the team. So it's too much of a burden in too little time, and I think it's unfair on him. But he's made great strides. He's improved in 2 years. He's become a really, really, really good player. Well, is he a star yet? No, I don't think he's a star yet. And I didn't think during the regular season that he was a star. I didn't have confidence when, even when we had someone like a Vince or whatever, when it was going into crunch time and there was like 2 minutes left and, you're waiting for that star to take over the game. For me, I would never have confidence in Siakam taking over the game, right?
no, he's more of a kind of a rhythm player. Like he's not.
Player, swing the ball to him and he hits the three, or he comes up running and he tries to jack that three up and give him props to try.
I don't give him props for that.
Yeah, but I'm hoping going into next season, he improves these things because every year he's come back improved. Everything is improved. Like 3 point shot, even though it was tricky, improved from the previous year. His driving improved. His post moves improved. So he just keeps improving. As we in 2 years' time, we'd have OG and Pascal both at very high levels, and that would carry the team. But right now, he's not. But looking at his what do you call it? His season, I can't knock it. I mean, they gave him responsibility, and he kind of delivered. So I would give him A minus.
Yeah, I'm almost in the same boat. Well, not really. I mean, for the season, I think he exceeded everybody's expectations. He had an amazing season. Like I said, I just ran through the stats. Those are all star numbers. Maybe the field goal percentage is trash. Like his field goal percentage in the Kawhi year was 55%, and he went
Okay.
down to 45% field goal percentage.
Yeah.
So that's because of all the
He's
attention
also
that.
taking more shots now than he did when he was with
Yeah,
Kawhi.
he was getting open looks with Kawhi. Like he was just doing whatever he wants. Kawhi with the demanded the double team, and he would just profit off that, just cutting and all that stuff. So, um, that's why I compared him to Draymond, because he's more of a third. He's more of a third wheel on a really good team, or even a championship team. He's not your first banana or first wheel. So, um, but yeah, as far as regular season, Kawhi left. This guy stepped up. He came in there. He carried the load on offense. He really worked on his handles. Comparing to his first year, we didn't even know he could dribble the ball. He was just a hustle player. Like he would just go in there and get rebounds, and he was strictly a hustle player. So when he was in the offseason, when I used to watch the tapes of Rico Hines and stuff, like he was doing all these crazy moves, like spin moves with dribble handoffs and crossovers and stuff like that. Like I was like, is this guy going to use this in the regular season? And he actually did.
Yeah.
Hence the crazy increase in output. So um, I was a big fan of his in the regular season. Even though he wasn't on my fantasy team. So, and that's probably why I hated him in the regular season. But objectively speaking, he had a great regular season, and he exceeded my expectations. I know they wanted him to step into that Kawhi role, and as far as output, he kind of did. He kind of did. Like those are Kawhi had a little bit more points,
So
a little bit more assists.
I didn't think he exceeded my expectations. I actually expected that of him. He did exactly what I expected him to do. That
Okay.
was my expectations of him. But I also don't think of him as a star yet.
Oh yeah. No, but he deserved the All Star for sure. Like he
Yeah, he's
deserved
a
it.
star
He deserved
in
to
the
be an
East.
All Star. It's the East, yeah. It's the East, and stats wise, and the team was doing really well. You have to put him in the All Star
Yeah,
game. You can't.
he's a high scorer on the team. Like you have to put him. Yeah.
So and yeah, as far as grading him for regular season, I would give him an A. Like it was amazing. I
So,
guess.
so all our ratings have. I mean, our gradings have been. You've been one notch higher. So you give him A, I give him A minus. You give,
And I'm supposed to be, and you're
yeah,
supposed to be the bigger Raptor fan, apparently. So, all right, so we'll move on to our fifth starter, Big Papa, Mr. Marc Gasol. What are your thoughts?
uh, he is who I thought he was. I mean, that's all I
Oh,
can say about Marcus
okay.
Gasol. I mean, he gave us his 2 3 pointers, his few free throws, got to 8 to 9 to 10 points per game, and played amazing defense. I know the average fan doesn't understand exactly what he does, but he's so big and his positioning is so good. The amount of layups that people miss going around Gasol is, and even offensively, he's like a point center. He gets the ball humming, and the overall team offense improves. It just sucks that he's so old with us. He'd have been great if he was younger, but yeah, I mean, he is who I thought he was. Would I give him for regular season C plus?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
because he's a guy who plays 15 minutes. I mean, he's not at the peak. He's the end of his career, really, at the end of the day.
you said he's actually getting in the regular season, dude. He actually was averaging 26 minutes.
Okay,
Believe it or not.
fine.
15 minutes. You're talking about the playoffs, man. Talking about the playoffs.
He got 26 minutes. Okay, but I would still. What are his numbers? Give me his numbers for the season.
Sure. Nothing eye popping. 7.5 points, 6.3 rebounds. The one eye popping thing is 3.3 assists, which is amazing for a
Yeah,
center.
yeah,
0.9 blocks, zero point 0.8 steals, which is really good considering he's a center and he's
yeah,
getting only 26 minutes.
yeah,
And his field goal percentage is atrocious.
yeah.
43%, 42%. He would still give you 1.3 threes, and he shot 3 pointers at the 38%, which is really good.
He got
Uh,
his like standard 8 points,
yeah,
and
he was actually a great 3-point shooter in the regular season. He was actually good.
yeah, he was a good thing. That's what happened. But we get to the playoffs separately. But
So,
yeah,
so, so you're going with a C.
I think like see, I've seen Marcus all in his career.
Oh yeah. We're not. No, no. We're talking about his age. Like
Yeah, you're talking about how is his regular season with the
for
Raptors?
the Raptors. Yeah, don't think about stuff on the
Right.
past here.
He was right. It's good. I don't know what else you want me to say. Like,
Okay, so for me, Marcus Sol had a really good regular season. Um, Considering he's what is he, man? He's like 35. This is his 11th year in the league. He's a 7 feet 255. He's a big dude. He has a lot of mileage, and obviously we were paying him a lot more than we should have been paying him, I guess.
mm,
Um, but it was the contract that was from Memphis, so it wasn't something that we could control. It was the trade from last year, so this is not a contract that we gave him. It's just something we inherited. So his regular season was great. His defense was elite in the regular season against other bigs, like where he shut down Embiid. I think he had zero. Did he have zero points, dude? Dude, dude. This is the guy's in the twilight of his career, and he's shutting down a potential MVP according to most people, and the
Stephen A.
greatest.
Smith.
See what?
Stephen
Well,
A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith, yeah, the greatest prognosticator in NBA history, the greatest analyst too. So yeah, he shut down Embiid. He shut down Vucevic, who's I think he's an All Star, right? Was he an All Star this year? He shut him down too. Um, Last year he did it. He did it in the first round. Did it in the first round this year. Sorry, this is regular season, but you know what I mean. Like he is a great defender. He's not the most athletic guy, but he knows where to be. His IQ is off the books. And he was very serviceable for us as a starter in the regular season. And like you said, he's a point forward. And in the regular season, his 3-point shot kept the defense honest. Like it really opened up the space for Pascal. And I think Pascal had more room to operate because Gasol was a 3-point shooter rather than like say JV. JV would never have opened the floor for either Pascal or even when Kawhi was here. So
Yeah.
Marcus was the perfect complement for this team in the regular season.
So what do you grade him?
I would grade him B minus, B minus,
B minus. Yeah.
B minus.
So I went
Uh,
C plus.
yeah. I'm sticking to my one notch ahead of you. Okay, so now we'll talk about some of the bench players. The first guy off the bench.
Instead of grading each bench player, why don't we just do talk about the bench players? Actually, okay, let's just grade it. That's fine.
Let's stick to the format. So Mafuzi Serge Ibaka. What do you
Oh,
think?
what I think of him this year,
Yeah, regular season. Regular season.
regular season A. I think he was an A compared to what he was when we first got him, and to where he's gone, the strides he's made. I think he was the best center coming off the bench. Is there a better center coming off the bench than Ibaka right now? I mean, he hits.
Definitely. No.
He was the highest. I think he was the highest 3-point shooting in terms of percentages. Yeah,
Yeah.
for the season, and he hit what like 1.5 3-pointers a game.
Let's see. Let me just pull this up.
Yeah, close to 1.5 3-pointers a game. I'd say it's two here.
Yeah, 1.3.
Yeah. So, and he improved his overall interior offense offensively. This is all offensively. And yeah, he was a great boost off the bench. I mean, there'd be times where he's going to shoot and you'd be like, oh, no, no, don't shoot. Because, you have that old Ibaka in your head. And he nails it. And I think he's become way better than I kind of wrote him off because obviously I think he's older than he says he is. And he was falling off. But then offensively, he's like reinvented himself. And yeah, I give him an A. I give him an A completely because he is exactly what I didn't think he was for the season. So he kind of proved me wrong. So I give him an A. I give him an A on that. Defensively, he's still he was a defensive player of the year once, right? So
Yeah. Maybe almost 7 years ago. It was a long time ago.
defensively, from a positional standpoint, he's still not bad, and he doesn't have the hops to block everything.
Why, man? He's only 30. He's in the prime of his career. I love it when people argue with me on that. I'm like, yo, look at his lift. Like he used to be getting off the floor. Like he's 30.
That being said, if you look at it, I mean, let's say he's not 30, let's say he's 33 or 34. If he is 34, he's playing very well for a 34-year-old.
Yeah, so is Kyle.
So is Kyle. But then if you look at Marc Gasol, for example, another big man.
Because Gasol's not.
So I got to give Ibaka the props for keeping himself in shape, keeping himself serviceable still. And I think I can't think of any other center that's coming. Which backup center is better than Ibaka?
Montrezl. Hey, he's the sixth man of the year, man. Hey, you asked, man. I don't know. Like, apparently, he got the sixth man, so that's your answer.
In fact, if Ibaka got more minutes, he would have been a sure shot for not sure shot, but he would be in the top maybe 3 or 4 for a six man. I feel if he got more minutes, like
Yeah, it's weird that they didn't consider him. Did they consider him? I don't think so.
well, I mean,
I don't
yeah,
think
no,
he. Yeah, I don't think he's part of the conversation.
consider him now. Like I mean, his output per 36 minutes, he's 20 points per game, 11 rebounds, 1 block, 7 steals, 2 assists, and shooting 40% from three.
Don't
At
give me don't give me per 36. That doesn't mean anything.
No, that means anything because in this situation he's not getting enough minutes. So I want to compare him to a starter,
Yeah,
right?
but he got 27 minutes. That's pretty damn good. What else do you want? He's not 30. He's freaking 34, 35. Like he's played how many years in the league? He's like this 10th year? Dude, this is 11th year. So he's been in the league as long as Marcus Gasol.
Yeah, but
So
even then, like if you look at his numbers, I think it's 15 points, 8 rebounds. That's decent for 27 minutes, right?
yeah, it's amazing. No, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm gonna grade him high too. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah. I've got him as you definitely won't go one higher than me, but I would say actually, okay, you know what? Maybe I'd say he's like an A minus. I'd give him an A minus.
Okay, so Surge for me had an amazing season only because again my expectations for him were very low coming in, considering his age, like his real age, not 30. Like he's not younger. He's not younger than DeMar DeRozan, which is just stupid. And he's definitely not 2 years older than Norm Powell. Like that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So for a guy that's actually probably 34 or 35 years old, and he's definitely kept himself in shape. He's remodeled his game.
Yeah.
In OKC, he was never a post-up guy with moves in the
He was a
post.
defensive player. That's it.
Yeah, he was just a defensive player. He would hit a shot when he was open, maybe
Yeah.
a 15-footer or a 20-footer.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a Charles Oakley-ish kind of player on offense. Like that's what he would do.
Yeah.
And he's basically now he stretched it out to the three. He's a competent 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
15 points per game, 8 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 0.5 steals, 0.8 blocks. Shooting 51% from the field, 1.3 threes per game with 38% 3-point shooting. That's amazing. Like that's
Yeah.
you're right. He should have been considered for sixth man of the year, but because he's in Toronto, nobody gives a shit. So yeah, like I would definitely give him. Like he went from Ikaka to back to Ibaka. You know what I mean? Like this year, especially in the playoffs, but even regular season, a pleasant surprise as far as output. And of course, Nick Nurse basically was he was the catalyst for his resurgence because he took him away from the power forward position and made him into the center during the Kawhi year. Before that, he was exclusively a power forward.
Yeah.
So you got to give Nurse credit on that as well. And he made him into a center, and I don't know where he learned those moves from in the post, but obviously they work. And yeah, he's amazing. I'll give him an A, man. Like just because I'll give him an A. So
Okay, I give him minus.
So let's go to Norm Powell, one of my other favorite Raptors.
Yeah, Norm Powell. Norm Powell for me has stepped up. Like what he's done off the bench this time, like the main knock on Norm Powell was his shot. It was too inconsistent, and then I don't know what happened to him in the regular season. If the thing didn't stop and went till the end of the thing, and he was just to the end of the season, and he was healthy, he would have made a serious push for sixth man of the year. Like he was playing, he was
a man on a mission, man. Man on a mission.
He come and close out games, and I always felt like he should start. He's the kind of player who he starts off well, decent, and then he starts to warm up and he gets really hot towards the end. And I feel like he should have started, but I'd wait for Norm Powell. One of the main issues with Nurse is the amount of minutes he played Norm Powell were too sparse sometimes, and I feel like he could contribute more. He'd overplay a Lowry. He played Lowry like 44 minutes. He'd play Van Vliet 42 minutes, even in the regular season
Yeah,
sometimes.
I remember that. I forgot. I forgot that he was doing that shit in the regular
39
season.
minutes. I'm just like, you're playing.
Dude, it's not the playoffs. You're playing like they were playing like shit teams too sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, what are you
So
doing?
I think Norm Powell is another one. He's exactly like Ibaka. He's exceeded my expectations because the one flaw that he had, he worked on, and he doesn't have it anymore. And
What's that? What's the flaw?
he has
His
he's not,
shooting.
I wouldn't say he has a great first step, but he has this burst once he gets on
Yeah,
that thing.
it's the
You can stop
explosiveness.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can stop
he's
him.
explosive.
Yeah. Uh, so he's got the driving, he's got the finishing at the rim, and he's got the shot now. And I think next season he should play a much bigger role. So Norm Powell for me goes from, because considering what he was last season and what he is this season, a couple of seasons ago, people were like fed up with Norman. They didn't want him to play, and he was just missing everything. He was struggling. I know there were podcasts about this stuff. Uh, so I'd give him an A minus two.
Um, Norm is just I've always loved Norm coming out of college. I thought it was a big steal that we got him at 46 or something crazy, like really low,
Yeah,
like really mid second round.
yeah,
And he just has like he just has a calm to him, like to his game, that he's kind of like a silent assassin. He just needs playing time for
yeah,
me, and he got the playing time even coming off the bench. His
yeah,
stats were eye popping. Like it's 6 man worthy for sure. 16 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 1.2 steals, zero point 0.4 blocks. 2.1 threes. His field goal percentage is high, 49% for a guard.
yeah,
3 point percentage was he shot 40% from the field.
yeah,
Or from the
yeah.
three, sorry. That's insane, man.
It's the
So
highest in the team.
so look at it, like compare him to his last, like so he's basically doubled his output
Yeah,
almost in every category.
yeah. Actually, not
Uh
an A minus. I think he's an A.
oh dude, yeah, I'm giving Norman A plus. Like I didn't know I didn't know he had it in him. I always liked him because he was a great role player. I didn't know he had this in him, like where
Yeah,
he was a go-to guy off the bench. He would bring us
yeah,
back in games. He
yeah,
just became a reliable offensive player, and his defense has always been above average. Like I wouldn't say elite, but
yeah,
it's above average. Like
yeah,
and his defense depends on his offense. Like he's a rhythm player. He needs confidence.
yeah,
Sometimes Nurse kind of didn't give him the confidence, but he would in the regular season. He kind of shifted back and forth. But he gave him enough confidence in the regular season. He had all these weird injuries in the regular season that kind of slowed
yeah,
him down.
yeah.
But
That's
he still came back. He still came back,
these
and
numbers. These numbers are numbers of Norm Powell with injuries during the season.
yeah, dude, he doubled his points. The previous season he
Yeah, so
had
imagine how
eight
good he
points.
actually was. Like, no, yeah, Norm Powell was like an A for me this season. Very,
Uh,
very good.
I
In fact,
just
I thought he would be our X factor going into the playoffs, but I didn't know Nick Nurse was not going to play him at all.
well, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get
Yeah,
there. Um,
you gotta hurry up though.
yeah, so I don't think we're gonna be able to cover playoffs, man. We'll do it in another podcast because we're going pretty slow on the
And-
regular
and-
season.
okay, so this was just a trial, right? We should do another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now,
let's move on to Norm. So I'm giving it an A plus because he's borderline all-star level. Like next year, if we give him the time, we give him
yeah,
the
yeah,
looks,
I agree with that.
depending on how our roster is reshuffled based on the free
Yeah,
agents and all that. If he's a starter, he can score. He can give you 20 points a game, like no problem.
yeah. So that's why I know you don't like to look at this thing, but that's why I said like right now I'm looking at the 36 minutes based on him coming off the bench, based
Oh
on
shit.
him being injured and everything, right?
Yeah,
If you take his minutes and they extended to 36 minutes, and what would his productivity be? It is 20 points a game at
there you
30.
go. Yeah, in the regular season, he got 28.4 minutes. Thanks to
Yeah.
Nick Nurse. Uh, um, okay, so A plus for me. Norm is Norminator, General Powell, Norm God, whatever you want to call him. Like we better keep him long term, and we better keep him happy. Uh, this is someone that we can develop into something even better.
Yeah, he's gone from a player with inconsistencies to suddenly like, oh wow, he had so much of an upside to him,
Yeah, yeah,
and now he can really take it to the next level. I hope he starts next season.
for sure, for sure. He should start, man. Like I don't know. Anyways, let's move on to I don't know. I guess you want to talk about Terrence Davis, the undrafted rookie.
The undrafted rookie. Yeah, I mean, Terrence Davis had an up and down year. When he was good, he was really good. When he was bad, he was really bad. But again, I think that comes down to consistency of minutes and knowing when you're going to play or not. When you're playing sports, you need to know what's coming. If you don't know if you're going to play, or you go there, you play for 1 minute, you get hooked, and then you don't play for 3 games or 2 games, or you come back. I thought he was amazing considering he was an undrafted rookie. I mean,
What an indictment for the rest of the stupid teams. Stupid teams.
well, apparently he told teams not to draft him in the second round. So they didn't draft him because of that. He said they didn't want to be drafted, so they didn't let him think. But the thing is, he wanted to prove himself in summer league, and the Raptors were quick in picking him up.
Oh, he wanted a guaranteed contract.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't want one of these, flimsy ass contracts. Um, yeah, no, for an undrafted rookie, he's good. He's starting off at a better point than when Norm started off, because I can compare the two. He has a better shot than Norm. And
I don't know. Oh, when they first
he
started,
started
yeah,
off, yeah, when he first,
okay.
yeah, I think he has a better shot than Norm. Norm's shot was terrible when he first started.
That's true. That's true.
So, yeah, no, I think he's amazing. But what would I give him? A B minus. I'd give him a B minus.
Terrence Davis. Terrence Davis has a lot of potential.
Yeah,
He's a little bit undersized, I guess. If you're playing him at shooting guard, he's undersized. But if you want to run him at the point, he's not really a point guard though. He's more
yeah,
of he's more of a combo guard. I know they're trying to like mold him into one, but I don't think it's a good idea. But I think he had a great season. Like I mean, I watched the guy in summer league, so I kind of knew who this guy was, and I did some background work on what he was doing in college, and him being an ex football player, he had to choose between the two. So he's definitely a tough nosed guy, and he fit in right. He fit in perfectly into our team,
culture,
almost
yeah,
in the culture of just toughness, like a Kyle Lowry kind of mold.
yeah,
And Nurse showed some confidence in him, but he would pull him a lot. Like
yeah.
he would talk shit to him,
It
and then
takes a lot for a nurse to start trusting someone.
yeah. And I think Nurse gave him opportunities, but there were some times where he would just go stone. Like I'll run through the stats. He had 7.5 points, 1.6 assists, 3.3 rebounds, which is really good. He's a really good rebounding guard. He gets
Yeah,
a lot of offensive boards too.
yeah,
0.5 steals, 0.2
yeah,
blocks.
yeah,
Um, he actually shot 46% from the field. I thought it would have been much lower. And he shot 39% from the three with 1.3 threes per game in 17 minutes. These are pretty good numbers. Like these are good
yeah,
numbers, considering he's a rookie and he was undrafted.
yeah,
Um, and he was part of the rotation, I'd say, on most nights.
yeah,
So Nurse gave him a fair shake, I feel, during the regular season. He even let him make mistakes and kept him in the game. And there would be some games. I remember the Charlotte game where he would just keep shooting and shooting and shooting. And I think he went like 2 for 15 in that game. So Nurse gave him a pretty long leash, and I think he performed pretty well. Like I would give Terrence Davis maybe a B minus for the regular season based on the
yeah.
expectations.
Finally tied.
um, okay, so we'll move on to. I mean, I like this guy, but obviously Nick Nurse likes him more. Pat McCaw. He's one of the most polarizing players. Like I wouldn't even say polarizing. I think everybody hates him. All the Raptors fans hate him.
Uh, honestly, I see Pat. The thing with McCaw is, I mean, I see his defense is very good. His defense is good,
It's
but
amazing. It's not good. It's really good. It's
yeah,
above average.
way above average. But his offense, I know he's a very smart player. But part of being a smart offensive player is knowing when it is your turn to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Uh, just waiting, handling the ball and not taking that shot and passing it up for a better shot that you perceive as a better shot every time when it's technically not because you're open for a shot. doesn't, for me, isn't the best uh, decision maker. I
So
mean,
are you questioning his basketball
the
IQ?
reason why he's on the floor is because he thinks he's a better decision maker. He can handle the ball. It's almost like a third-ish point guard. But no, man, there are times where I feel we lost games because of Pat McCall. Like there were times where he was open and he just needed to hit 6 points or 8 points, but he just didn't shoot. He played for 44 minutes and didn't take one shot. Like who
No,
plays
you take 44. I think he averages one shot per 20 minutes.
for
I don't know if there's a stat like that, but that's what it looks like.
It's just Pat McCaw for me, C minus. I just he has potential to be a better player, but unless he switches it up offensively, because the way I look at it is when Pat McCaw's on offensively, at least we're playing four versus five, like four players versus five when we're on offense. They have an extra defender that can cheat because Pat McCaw isn't going to shoot ever, even if they double team and they swing the ball to Pat McCaw, they know that he's never going to shoot. So I think he hurt the team more than he actually helped the team out. So yeah, like most are Raptor fans, I agree with them, and I disagree with Nick Nurse. He's not as good as you think he is. He's not 44. Play Norm 44 minutes, man. Like you play this guy over Norm Powell? Like no. See,
I don't think he played him over Norm. I don't
of
think he
course he
played him
did.
over Norm.
Pat McCaw was starting for some of the games when these guys were injured. Pat McCaw got the starting minutes.
Yeah, I think that Nurse's rationale is that they need Norm with that scoring punch off the bench. Like that's his rationale.
Okay,
But what was your grade?
C minus.
Whoa, that's really low. Okay. So I'm actually a big fan of Pat McCaw. I wouldn't say big fan. I'm a fan of Pat McCaw. I like his game. I like his defense is really good. He's kind of like a Spider-Man out there. He has these lanky arms, and he's very skinny. So he really gets in the passing lanes. He really disrupts the point guard. Um, Apparently, he was a point guard in UNLV, and then when he came to Golden State, they didn't like they already had Steph and whoever else. So they kind of played him as a wing, because he's big too as well. He's tall.
Yeah.
So he had the point guard skills apparently in UNLV, and he does play. You can put him at point guard, and I feel like he's too pass. He's too pass oriented. Like,
Yeah.
to a fault. Like it's like you're not that bad of a shooter. First of all, he has good shoot. He has a good shooting form. I think let's look at his stats. So 4.6 points per game.
In how many minutes?
And he actually got 25 minutes, 24.5 minutes per game. That's a lot of minutes.
You're telling me Norm doesn't deserve those minutes?
And so I was right, eh? So per 25 minutes, he's averaging shot taking 1.8. He only took 1.8. So I was right on that. That was just a guess. He averages 1.8 shots per 25 minutes.
I mean, you can like the guy, but I'm sorry, like that you don't need to do more for me you're negative.
No, but that's the thing. You have to understand Nurse is probably kind of grooming him to do this. I don't think
Well,
he
let's
was.
see next year. You're calling it on last year. You're calling
I
it
don't think McCall was doing this shit in Golden State. Like he wasn't doing this in Golden State. Like I think he would take shots, he would get rebounds and stuff. He would do other stuff. Like I think Nurse is kind of telling him like, "Yo, you're the third point guard out there. When Van Vliet's out and Lowry's out, we want you to run the point. We
Yeah.
want you to be pass first." I think he's just taking orders from Nick Nurse. I don't think this is his fault. And I feel like also I still understand what you're saying. Like he's passing up open shots, which is ridiculous. So maybe he's taking that Nurse advice and taking it way beyond what it needs to be. So, but yeah, like he still averaged 1.1 steals. His field goal percentage is terrible. Even in that 1.8 shots that he took, he still shot 41%. So, 3-point percentage is 32%, which is not good. And 0.6. So basically, he's out there for his defense, and his running the point, and kind of setting other people up, which he's really good at. He averaged 2.1 assists per game. But again, like I don't know. I think he had a good season. I mean, based on what we got him for, we're not paying him that much. Like,
well, here's the thing: when you look at what's his name, Patrick McCaw, It's completely different. Like if you were to compare, let's say, what's his name?
Yeah, but what do you expect from him? Like,
Hold
what
on,
do you
hold on,
want
hold
from
on,
him?
hold on, hold on. Marc Gasol, okay, doesn't do much offensively either, right? But he moves the ball, right? The team move the ball moves a lot. He doesn't contribute in terms of numbers, in terms of points and blah blah blah. But you can see what's happening with him, and you can see that he's making the right decision every single time.
Okay.
Pat McCaw on his offensive box plus minus is minus 3.6. So when he's on the floor for the season, we suffer. The other team does better when we
Offensively,
offensively.
not defensively.
Yeah, but defensively he's plus 1.8. So he's not that much.
Yeah, maybe, but like, yeah, okay.
His overall box plus minus is minus 1.8. He's a minus 1.8 player, and he is the only player in the rotation of 13 plays. Even Matt Thomas has a positive box plus minus.
Yeah, but those are based on other factors, like if the other players are scoring and stuff. That's not you can't
Yeah,
just,
but that's the reason.
you know what I
Why
mean?
is it that there's only one guy out of 12,
So he's the lowest
12 that is a minus? Because he's the only guy who doesn't score. We're playing 4 and 5.
on offense. Yeah, on offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something he can fix, man. He can fix that. Like that's not a he's not a bad shooter.
What he needs to fix is his fucking head.
I think that
Shot.
Nick
No,
Nurse.
but that's you're thinking. You're not actually. I think
No,
Nick.
because I've never seen this dude. I've watched him in Golden State. He didn't do this shit. Like this is ridiculous. He never did this stuff where he would just pass up open shots. Like he's not even looking at the rim. He's just swinging the ball. Like, he's not looking at the rim. Like he did what Gasol did in the playoffs. He's not looking at the rim. Like so, except there was a couple of games where there was like major injuries, and I think somebody like Fred said like we need him to step up, and then he
Yeah,
stepped up in the next game.
yeah,
He
yeah. A
actually, you know
couple
what I
of
mean?
games.
So
Yeah.
he has it. He has the potential. It's just that you need to keep telling him like, yo, we need you to score too. It's not just distributing. We need you to score. We need you to be part of the offense.
He's on contract with us for like 3 years.
I think it's a 2 or 3 year contract, and we were lucky to even get him because he had that tiff with Golden State about his contract situation with them. So
Till 2021 is when we
I
have
think
him.
it's a bonus that we just got him. He's a really good player. And he's young, man. Like fucking, we're fucking shitting on him. Like he's 24 years old. Like give him a break. And he's a three-peat champion. Give me a break. Like he's a fucking Robert Ory out there. Like give me a break. Like he was going for 4-peat this year, man.
Uh,
I think if he showed up for the bubble, he would get that 4 championships. You can't really blame him. Like you can blame the Raptors for not bringing him to the bubble. So I'll give Pat McCaw regular season. I'll give him a B minus.
a B minus?
Yeah, man. He was a good player. He was a serviceable player. You're expecting too much on offense, man. This is not his forte. This is not something that Nurse is asking from him. Nurse doesn't care about your offense. As long as you're serviceable and dependable on defense, you'll get playing time. Offense is a bonus.
I'm looking at the team, and I'm saying that this guy was more of a negative than a positive. I understand.
I disagree.
And I understand he has good qualities. I think you're just trying to be cool and say like, "I see what you don't see." But
No, not at all. I think Pat McCaw. I think we suffered because we didn't have Pat McCaw in the bubble. I know that's a playoff thing, but yeah, we definitely.
Pat McCaw would have.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. If he was there, yeah, Fred would be hitting all those shots. Siakam would come through, and
No, but at least we would be able to take Fred off. We would be able to take Fred off. We would have to be able to take Lowry off. There's no third ball handler. You know what I mean? Like that's what Nurse was grooming him for. So I mean, he was the third point guard. So yeah, I'll give him a whatever. Okay, we'll move on. Next we got Boucher.
The Bush.
Slim Duck.
Slim Duck. Chris Boucher, he's the garbage player. At the end of the day, he gets a few rebounds, gets a few blocks, shoots a few threes. We should do him and Matt Thomas together to speed it up.
Okay.
Yeah. So the two of them, they were good. They would come. What I like about Rondé, we talk about all three energy and specialty players together. Rondé, Boucher, and
you do all of them. Do Rondé, Boucher, Matt Thomas, and Stanley Johnson.
Yeah, Stanley Johnson.
Okay, no one needs to talk about it.
Boucher and Matt Thomas. All three of them. Matt Thomas in the regular season a little lesser because he wasn't getting as much time, but he did well enough. And the Rondé and Boucher, I think they made such a big difference to our team because they'd come in with that energy and get rebounds and dunking offensive rebounds and shooting threes and blocking shots, and they just disrupt everything. They were like the disruptors, and it worked out. It worked out big time. Like most most of the other benches couldn't keep up with that energy, and you couple that with the Raptors fans at home and stuff with just going crazy with these blocks. And I think Boucher had the most blocks on the perimeter, like at the 3 point line.
He's a great closer. Closeout guy.
Yeah, yeah. So I think our energy guys were very, very, very good, and I'm gonna grade them now not based on what they contributed, like what their numbers were individually, but as a unit. All three of them as a unit. Uh, I'm gonna grade them based on the fact that they were energy guys and like a 3 point shooter. Just putting it like that together. Okay, all three of them together, I think they made such a big difference to our team. It became contagious in terms of effort and everything. And I feel like, I mean, even though Nurse called them out, I remember when Ronde finally had to start because there was so many injuries. That energy, like I didn't see any other team where they see someone putting that much energy to get a rebound and get a thing. So for me, that whole unit together will get a B. They will B for sure. B
Benchmark
plus, B plus.
benchmark 2.0.
Benchmark 2.0. I'd say it's a B plus. Yeah.
I'll rate them individually quickly. Boucher was I didn't know he had this stuff in him. He's even though he was a G League MVP.
MVP, yeah. And defensive player of the year together.
Yeah, what the hell are they running out in the G League? What the hell's going on? How's this
I'm like, watch this guy. He's quite good at least over there, he was very good.
What the hell is going on in the G League? Because I mean, he's a good. That's all he is. You said he's a garbage player. He's just a utility player. He's not
Yeah.
There's no skill involved. He's just going
But I
crazy.
think if he improves his 3 point shot, then he has a lot of
I don't
value.
know if he can improve that shot. It's awful, man. He just like chuck it. He's just
It already improved when I looked at the bubble. It already improved compared to what it was in the regular season.
it's very ugly.
Yeah.
You can't
It's over his head.
yeah, you can't reformat that shot. It's too late in his career. He's not a young guy. He's like 28 years old, so he's not a rookie or anything. So Boucher was really good, energy player, block shots, just causes chaos when the starters or the regular bench players like are not bringing it. You can just bring in these guys. Boucher, I'll give him a B plus. Ronde was amazing. I've always liked Ronde, even from the Nets days. I don't understand why they let him go. I guess because his shooting is just putrid. It's one of the worst shooting forms since Michael Kidd Gilchrist. So I mean, but there's still room for players like him in the NBA, who are just hustle players. So
JYD type.
JYD guys, yeah. So he was kind of a JYD 2.0. I don't understand why they didn't play him in the playoffs. But in the regular season, he was good, man. He was whenever he got an opportunity, he performed. Like compared to Stanley Johnson, like you would think Stanley Johnson would have been better in the beginning of the season than Ronde. But Ronde outperformed him in every category, so I'll give him a B as well. Matt Thomas, the best shooter in the world, based on percentage. Yeah, he's amazing, man. Like I don't know, why more people don't talk about him or that he doesn't get more playing time. I know he's a little bit undersized and
Yeah.
he doesn't
His
have.
defense was what because Nick
No, but
Nurse said, but his defense has improved. It improved.
he's trying, man. The reason
Yeah.
Nick Nurse is even giving him minutes is because he's trying out there. His
Yeah.
wingspan is not the greatest, but he moves
Yeah.
his feet. He tries to
Yeah.
be in position. He's not. He will get beat out by the better athletes, but it's not for a lack of effort. So, and his 3 point shooting is crazy. Like he's basically a JJ Redick type. Off the catch, he doesn't need much space. He gets it off
Yeah.
quick,
Yeah.
and he's a microwave scorer. So it's always good to have that, and that's why they brought him over from Spain. I think he was.
And he's adding a whole bunch of things now to his game. If you've noticed, like in the bubble, he
Yeah,
was.
dude, he has a floater. He has a
Yeah.
little bit of a passing game now, like a draw and kick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he can actually,
Yeah.
he has a little bit of handles. Like he can
Yeah.
actually. So, and he's 24 years old, so he has room to grow.
Yeah.
I hope we keep him. I'll give him a B plus. Because I didn't know who the hell this guy was. So B plus for sure, coming out of Europe. So, and who else is there? And then quickly we'll just run through Stan Johnson, Brissett, Malcolm Miller, Dewan Hernandez, and Paul Watson. Just give them like your grade and like a short snippet.
Brissett, I haven't seen much. I just saw him on a few games. I liked what I saw. I can't give him a grade because it's just been 2 games. Paul Watson, I really like. I
Watson.
actually went to watch. Yeah, we actually went to watch a game of his. So 905 live, whatever. I like his shot. He's very consistent. He's quite underrated actually as a player. I think if they gave him some minutes, he could actually do well. Maybe next year they don't re-sign Ronde, and maybe he starts to get some minutes because of that. But I like Paul Watson. I think they should start to use him. Even in the bubble when he played well. He wasn't like Malcolm Miller has got so many chances and he just hasn't delivered.
Yeah, Malcolm Miller is done. I'm done with him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's done. But Paul Watson has a good upside. I like him as a player. Stanley Johnson has improved, I guess, from the beginning of the season. I mean, I don't know what to say. The guy scoring 30 points and shit. So I think he's improved. His shooting's improved. And that's all that was. Like they had to improve his shooting, and they had a star basically, right? That's what it was.
Yeah.
He basically could shoot. That was the main thing. So if he starts to shoot, then they've got a play on their hands.
Yeah, like a 3 and D guy.
That's what they do for 2 years. It's not 1 year because of 1 year they just want to develop his shot, and then the second year. So maybe this year coming in, we'll see more of Stanley Johnson. As far as grades, I just can't grade any of them. I haven't seen them enough in the sense that they haven't played more than 2 games.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to grade these guys either. They don't have much opportunity to actually, be graded.
Yeah.
So, Stan Johnson, man, I don't know what the hell happened to this guy. Like he was one of my favorite players when he came out of the draft maybe 3-4 years ago. I think he was a lottery pick. He was like 5th or 6th. He was definitely top 10.
Okay.
And they were comparing him like he was supposed to be the next Kawhi Leonard. so before Kawhi, became all passing and
Yeah, he was picked 8th in the 2015 draft.
Yeah. He was highly touted coming out of even high school. He was like a high school mixtapes and all this shit. Like,
mixtapes are very deceiving, though.
Yeah, even Mannion has mixtapes. Nico.
Like, remember the hype on what's his name? The Milwaukee guy who's gone to, I think, Detroit.
Thonmaker. Oh, I've seen. Have you seen his cousin's highlights? Is it cousin or his brother? Mature Maker. He's in the draft.
No.
Maybe Raptors get him at 58. Anyways, yeah. So Stan Johnson, like, it's been one of the weirdest, the biggest catastrophic falls in a playoffs. Because I remember the first year he used to guard LeBron in the first round, and he did a pretty decent job against him when he was in Detroit versus Cleveland. He was going head to head with him. He was talking trash, and then now he can't even get on the court. Like they don't really. Nobody. His confidence is in the dumps, and I think the Raptors. I mean, his season was bad, obviously, but we didn't pay him that much money. We got him for one more year. I feel like he has more upside. He still has upside. He's only 23, 24. So, bad season, but
there are some of the players that were taken after Stanley Johnson in the draft. It's Justice Winslow, Miles Turner, Trey Lyles, Devin Booker.
Yuck.
Devin Booker was taken five things after Stanley Johnson.
Oh my God.
Delon Wright was taken 15 places after him.
Oh God.
Bobby Portis, I guess, Tyus Jones.
Yeah, so the guy's only 24, man. You got a 23. I think he's 23. Sorry, 23, 24. He still has time. He's the same age as OG, so he's actually bigger than OG. He has a bigger frame. So he just needs some confidence. Maybe Nurse gives him that confidence. Who knows? Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Nurse, and they're making him run the point.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. He didn't even do that coming out of.
He looked comfortable doing it, but they're making him doing it. Like they're trying to develop this.
I think they're doing that because his handles are so awful. Like his handles are terrible, so they're kind of forcing him to at least develop like average handles, so that if he can't hit the three, at least he can offer something else. You know what I mean? Like he has to keep the defense honest. Otherwise he'll be like Pat McCaw when nobody's going to guard him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like on offense. So they need to develop other things of his game because he was supposed to be a 3-and-D guy coming in. So they want to develop other things like so. And his defense will only come when he gets confidence on
I
offense.
think we'll see more of him this year. That's why we signed him to a 2-year contract. One
Yeah,
year we improve him, and the second year we see him on the
yeah,
court.
yeah. We want to give him an opportunity, a fair opportunity. So
Yeah,
Brissett's good. Brissett's really good. He's only 22. He's again an energy player, but he can shoot and stuff. That
yeah,
Boston
Brissett's very
game,
good.
that game in was it in Boston
Yeah,
where
yeah.
he was amazing. Like he was just they
And
played
he's
him.
very good
They played him
defensively.
at
Very,
small
very
ball
good.
center. They played him at small ball center. So he's a very I'd say he's not a really garbage player like Boucher. He can actually shoot and stuff. He has a good basketball IQ, so he's a good player like going forward. Miller's shit. Like we've given him so many opportunities. We always talk
Yeah,
about his potential, and he just
yeah,
flops when he gets the opportunity. He doesn't do anything. So
yeah.
Juan Hernandez, uh, I don't know. Like I mean, he was supposed to be good coming out of college. Then he lost that year. Then he came in. He had the
Yeah.
injury. So maybe it's the injury that's why he's trash. Uh, I don't know what this. I can't grade him because, and I can't shit on him too much because, like I said, like he came off that bad injury. He was in a boot for so long,
Yeah.
and then he just doesn't have any opportunity to play. So maybe he's still injured. I don't know. So I'm not gonna be hard on him. And Paul Watson is really good, very smooth player. Uh, older than you would think. He's about 25 or something like that. So he's a big body. I don't know how good he is defensively. I think he's okay. But offensively, he's very skilled, very high IQ. Yeah, we could use him for the future. I mean, he has room to grow. So, anyways, we want to finish off on the coach for the regular season and the GM for the regular season. I know we're running pretty far, but you want
Yeah.
to quickly go through a nurse?
No, we'll do nurse another time. I don't know if we can because it's
Do quickly. He's the coach of the year. You don't have to say much.
yeah,
He's amazing.
he's an A coach
Yeah.
or A plus, I guess. He's the best coach in the league. It's him between him and maybe two other guys. So yeah, A coach. But I don't agree with his rotation sometimes. I don't agree with the minutes he plays, the players that he trusts. I think he should rotate a little more and keep their minutes down so going into the playoffs they're a little more fresh in general. But I've always liked his schemes. I've always liked him trying out different things. I like the fact that he just throws, curveballs at the thing. So yeah, with Nick Nurse, I like the way even in fact even off court stuff like the stuff where he calls out players and stuff. They seem to respond after that. So they don't take it personally. They don't they're not bad locker room people players. So yeah, overall he gets an A for me, and Masai always gets an A plus, man. He, like,
Um,
there's nothing more to say.
yeah, I guess with Nurse, I'll give him an A minus only because his rotations are just
Yeah,
stupid. Like he's playing regular season games as though they're playoff games where he's gonna play like Lowry 40 minutes. Like,
yeah,
what are you doing? Why is that even necessary? We're playing the Brooklyn Nets, or sorry, not even Brooklyn Nets. We're playing like Orlando or something, some garbage team, like or Phoenix or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, um, his schemes are great defensively and offensively. But for a person who's supposed to be so flexible, I just don't understand the stubbornness when it comes to the rotations. I don't understand it. It's almost like he's almost like Casey in that sense, just rotation wise.
yeah,
Rotation wise, he's kind of like Casey, where he just won't budge. Like we have to lose. Like we have, it has to. It takes a lot. Like even in, I don't want to talk about playoffs, but it just takes a lot for him to do that. And I don't. I feel like he should be more flexible as he is with the schemes on offense and defense. He should
yeah,
be more flexible with the rotations. But yeah, other than that, he's the A minus. Obviously, the coach of the year, and he took like like as far as we don't have a star, we just have a bunch of averagely good players, and we were like second best or third best record in the whole league. So that is a miracle. So you can't fault him for that. And Masai is the best GM in the league by far. Like who comes even close to him? Like maybe the Denver guy. Uh,
Oklahoma maybe.
yeah. Maybe the San Antonio has gone down the toilet now, so not Buford. The guy in Memphis is good, but yeah, Masai is just like he's just. I,
Yeah, Masai is the best, but even this guy is not bad. Sean Marks is okay.
Sean Marks is okay. Yeah, I guess he's okay. But Masai's on another level. I hope he is the GM until the end of the world, like basically. So, so just sign him for life, like sign him for life, make him fucking partner of the league, like give him ownership, whatever you have to do, like
Yeah, I don't know why MLSC doesn't give him that.
give
Give
him
him
ownership, like give him ownership,
something. Yeah.
give him ownership, keep him happy, kill all these rumors with the New York and all this other bullshit. Like, anyways, we've gone way over, man. And that was our first podcast. The next podcast we'll go through the playoff performances.
Next, no, we're not gonna do next podcast. We'll do the playoffs, but we'll just talk about the playoffs. We'll talk
Yeah, we'll
about
do it briefly, and then we'll combine it with.
we'll just talk about everything we felt about the playoffs. You know, like a
Okay,
conversation. I
okay,
feel that works more.
okay. So, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next podcast for NBA North Uncut. Thank you. See you later.
So yeah.
Peace.